This is the meeting for the Trulieve medical marijuana dispensary application. I'm Kirk Crane. I'm with the County Planning Services Department. Thank you. And I need to read some items into the record. This, again, is the application. I'm just here, required to be here for the county representing them and need to read this. This meeting is being recorded. So, and there will be minutes provided for this meeting. So if I ask a couple of things, if you will please, identify yourself when you ask a question or speak. That'll help whoever's taking the minutes. There will be a summary version, not a verbatim version of the minutes of this meeting, and they'll be provided, and I'll get into where they'll be provided later on. So please help the person taking the minutes take accurate minutes. Again, I'm Kirk Crane, Sarasota County Planning. I want to thank you for coming tonight and being a part of this process. Your input at this meeting and the future public hearings is a very important part of the process. The purpose of my attendance here at the applicant's workshop, and I want to indicate it's their workshop, their project, is to explain the process, explain your involvement in that process, and to speak to some ground rules. The workshop is a required part of a special exception application process. The special exception is kind of like a rezoning application. They're trying to put a use there that's not allowed unless they get approval by the Board of County Commissioners. So it's an application that is processed by the Planning Department. The purpose of this workshop is for the applicant to inform the neighboring residents of the proposal, discuss the nature of that proposal, and to solicit any suggestions and or discuss any concerns. After tonight's meeting, the applicant will file his plan, and he's got one here, showing what they're going to propose to do and where, along with a proposal, written application for the special exception, it's the sign-in sheet, I'll get to that in a minute, and a written summary of this meeting. The meeting, again, is being recorded, so there will be a recording of the meeting available, but he'll provide a summary, and it'll be provided with the application, which is not yet filed. That follows from this meeting. Now, there is, I understand, a couple of sign-in sheets, or at least one going around. Would you please sign that? And I can tell you one of the advantages of signing that is when this gets to public hearings before the Planning Commission, they are both very interested in seeing how many people attended. They're very interested in seeing what the minutes say, what kind of questions were asked, what kind of answers were given, and they read that information. So sign in, and please add your, make it legible. Is anybody here who did not get a notice of the workshop? Okay, if you would, take a piece of paper at your convenience, give them to, I think, Ms. Hines, who is the with clearly your contact information. If you got a notice of tonight's meeting, you're already within what's called the notification area. So you'll get notices for subsequent meetings. If you're not, we'll be glad to add you to the list. But you got to give people your contact information. Make it so some poor administrative assistant in our office can actually read your writing. No offense to doctors. And you know, actual zip code, give a phone number, something like that, where they can contact your writing, or I'll be glad to ask, you know, make it easy for them. And again, am I doing all right?
You do great. It's just
okay.
This is the bad cord right here.
Okay.
So just try to.
And again, once they present their information, this will be made available on the county website. There's nothing there yet, except that there's a pre-application or a neighborhood workshop meeting. There will be when they actually file the application. We'll post all their information, summary minutes, their application. It'll be available online. See me if you want to, and I'll be able to help you guide you to where you can find that information online. Worst case scenario, call the county's hotline number, 861-5000, and they've got people in the call center that will help guide you to that information, so you can always get all the information that they submit. Anything they submit to us is public record. Once they file their application, it's going to be reviewed by a county department. Development Review Committee. What they are is a group of about 15 different review agencies that use technical expertise to review the application. They provide comments to the applicant and to the deciding boards on the proposal in regard to the applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations. It runs everything from transportation to traffic to zoning, parking requirements, landscape buffers, utilities. Health department's going to review this. All right.
Our radio guy
They're
here,
trying, yeah.
They're in good hands.
All right. And we'll obviously be sending this both to the health department and to the sheriff's department for review. Once the review is scheduled and they meet all their technical requirements and we've got all the information from the technical review agencies, we'll schedule it for a public hearing before the Planning Commission. If you got a notice again of tonight's meeting, you're already on the notification list. You'll get notified. If you want to be added to that list, give Ms. Hines over here a copy of your contact information when they submit the application. Our admin people will simply add you, and you'll get notified of the subsequent meetings. And there are a couple of them. And the plan, now it's going to take, we say, an average time for processing a rezoning special exception type of application runs about 6 months. It can run quicker or less depending on what kind of problems they encounter when they actually file the application, and it's reviewed by this group of about 15 different technical review agencies. And the quicker they can respond to those and these guys can get their comments together, the quicker we can get them scheduled for a planning commission. But we got some legal requirements. We have to notify the people in adequate time. We have to put ads in the newspaper. We have to post the property with the signs that maybe some of you have seen, the yellow signs that say land use change, and all that information requires, there's legal requirements as to notification, how much notification. So the Planning Commission is an appointed group by the Board of County Commissioners, which of course is elected. And the Planning Commission is the first public hearing. And you'll be able to attend that public hearing, and you'll be given an opportunity to speak at that public hearing. If you so choose, you can also, if you for some reason can't attend that, you can also or send a letter, an email, and all that information will be on the notification you get when it comes to the Planning Commission. And anything we receive, we make available to the Planning Commission and ultimately to the Board of County Commissioners. The Planning Commission holds a public hearing. They listen to whatever has to be said. They've got the recommendations from this technical review group called the Development Review Committee. They make a decision right there at their meeting. Their decision is really a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. About 6 to 8 weeks after the Planning Commission holds its public hearing, there will then be a scheduled public hearing before the Board of County Commissioners. And, we have to work the timing there. And again, we got the legal notification requirements, posting requirements, all that information. So it'll be finally scheduled before the Board of County Commissioners, second public hearing. And that, again, is a public hearing, so you'll be given an opportunity also at that time to speak about any concerns or issues after you've already got the recommendation from the Planning Commission and any information on that. The Board of County Commissioners is the final discernment on that. They either approve or deny the application. They can approve it with conditions. We call them stipulations, or, approved with this or that conditions, and that they feel are appropriate. And their decision is final. And again, the whole process can take anywhere from, well, an absolute low time would be about 3 months. The absolute high time would probably be a little over 6 months. But I know they're in a hurry. They want to move on. So I'm going to anticipate that they're going to probably try and get their responses to the Technical Review Committee, which is the next step after they file their application, as quickly as possible. There is an introduction to neighborhood workshops and what a neighborhood workshop's all about. Again, it's to inform the people that are most immediately affected, those within a notification area, and it's just simply a circle drawn around the property. If you own property in there, you're notified. That it is these other hearings before the Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners are public hearings. So any member of the public can speak. There is no magic line that says I'm, within the notification area or not within the notification area. It's a public hearing. You can speak. There are, I want to set some ground rules here. Now, again, this is your first opportunity to ask questions, express concerns, what hours of operation, what days of operation, what times, how are you actually going to do it. I'm sure there's a lot of curiosity about what they're going to do. I'm sure they're going to explain that. Again, it's their workshop, their application. I'm going to let them deal with that. I do want to set some ground rules here. Therefore, we ask that anyone wishing to speak at this evening may do so in an orderly and civil manner without interruptions. Please raise your hand, and you will be called on. Helps if you identify who you are so that they can get the minutes correct. Please limit your comments to 1 or 2 minutes to allow others time to provide their input. Please refrain from clapping, whistling, heckling, any gesturing, disruptive behavior. Those are just common sense. Those are also rules at the public hearings. All comments should avoid personal attacks and foul or abusive language. I have to read this. Please listen to varying viewpoints with respect. Please turn off all your cell phones or place them on vibrate. It's awful annoying. Your cooperation is appreciated. Again, this is your first opportunity to ask questions, make comments, express issues or concerns you may have. Address those to the applicant. And the whole team of the applicants is up here. If you got questions about the process, where does it go? That's what I'm here for. How do they file an application? What do they need to submit? All that. How long does it take to review all this stuff? Who are technical review agencies? That kind of question asked to me. Got a question about the project? It's not my project. It's theirs. Their application. So let them answer it. With that, are there any questions about process? Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to the team here. I don't know who's going to speak next.
I'll start.
And
this works.
Identify yourself. And again, I'll be here. I am not part of the team here. I am here simply representing the county. So I want you to understand.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. My name is Victoria Walker. I'm with Trulieve. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about Trulieve, who we are, what we do here in Florida. Hopefully I'll answer a lot of questions in this talk, but of course we'll leave plenty of time for Q&A, and then I'll turn it over to Ginny. She'll talk about zoning and our plans for the facility here in Venice. So I'll start off by just kind of explaining who Trulieve is. We're the first licensed medical cannabis organization in Florida. And what that means in Florida is we have a vertical seed to sale process. So our organization does everything from growing the plants in a responsible manner. We're located in Quincy, Florida, to processing, manufacturing, distributing those products to our retail stores so that patients can have access to those through our stores. We also do home deliveries throughout the state of Florida. We've been operating stores since July of last year. So we now have 11 stores in Florida, anywhere from Pensacola all the way to Miami. And we are planning 2 more in the month of October to open up, or November, sorry, to open up. And we've had over almost 20,000 patients that we've been able to help so far in the state of Florida. We are seeing such incredible results from the patients, and we've met over 1,000 doctors in Florida who are doing this for patients. So we've got a lot of experience, and we'll be able to really address a lot of your questions tonight because of that. I also want to talk about the process of how someone becomes a patient in the state of Florida, because it's really it's a really involved process, and I think that's an important piece of it, because Florida has put in a lot of steps to make sure that people who need access to this medication are getting it, but people who don't aren't able to get it. And I think that's a lot of concerns from a security standpoint. So the first thing that someone has to do if they think that they qualify is find a doctor who has taken a special course to give access to this medication. Dr. Gordon is one of those physicians, which is why we're here tonight, and you can see his operation here. It's an excellent place. They follow all of the rules and guidelines, and they have a lot of rules that they have to follow in order to give their patients access to this. So if you're a patient or you want to become a patient, you see a doctor. After that, and the doctor qualifies you, which it is up to the qualifying physician to make sure that your conditions fall within the legal guidelines. And that's a really important piece of it, because there is a lot of paperwork behind that. And the doctors are really thorough to make sure that this patient actually qualifies to have access to this medication. So once they do that, then as a patient, you actually apply through the state of Florida for your identification card. That process is about 4 to 6 weeks long before you actually get a card and can get access to a dispensary. And you have to prove, obviously, that you're a Florida resident or have a residency in Florida, even if you're a snowbird, that you have to get a passport photo, upload that into the registry. And you also have to pay a fee to the state of $75 every year. My point with that whole process is just to explain that for someone to go through all of those steps, they're really sick and they really need access to this medication. And the whole process from when you think you may want to become a patient to actually being able to walk into a dispensary is almost 2 months, and an investment of time and money. So it's really important to understand that not anybody has access to these stores. Once you do get an ID card approved by the state of Florida, you can then come into one of our locations or get home delivery and get access to our products, which are all up here. You can see we follow really strict guidelines on packaging, labeling, lab testing. Everything's child-proof. Everything is created to really look and feel like medicine and not be attractive to minors or children. Smoking is illegal in the state of Florida, so you won't walk into a cannabis dispensary in Florida today and see flower on the shelves like you might in another state. It's very controlled. We have a lot of security measures in our stores, cameras, security, different access levels that only patients are allowed back into the product area. Our inventory rooms are really safe, and we don't keep a ton of inventory on hand in each store. It's refreshed every single week, so you don't have to worry about a lot of products sitting in a store for a very long time. And to the need, I guess, of this in Florida, the demand is so high that we often run out of products. So that's how much the demand is here in Florida. So we just want to educate so much that the conditions are very serious, very debilitating conditions that do qualify for patients to get access. It's a huge investment of time, energy, money. It's a brand new process for everybody, but I can say meeting the physicians, meeting the patients, everybody is taking it very seriously. It's very responsible about going about how they practice medicine and how patients get access, including ourselves. And our goal and intention is to only bring this to Venice because there are hundreds of patients in this town that don't want to pay for home delivery, don't want to drive, 2 hours to get access to a medication when they're already suffering, a lot. Just driving 2 hours is a very difficult challenge for a lot of patients. So our goal is to be very responsible citizens in this community, to be safe. Your concern for safety is our concern for safety. We don't want our patients or our employees to be in an unsafe environment. So we understand that, and we want to be just as good citizens in this community as any other retail business. So we hope that's answered a lot of your questions, but I'll take some later. I'll let Jenny talk about zoning and our plans, and then we'll open it up for questions.
I'm going to stand. Okay, I talk pretty loud. I'm Jenny Hines. I'm one of the attorneys for Trulieve. I just want to go explain a little bit about the zoning process and how we plan to follow every rule, guidance, regulation to the T. As Victoria said, we already have 11 different dispensaries. We have pretty much set up I'm going to say foolproof, but we have a plan in place for all of our dispensaries. We have safety plans, and luckily for this location, it's already in a shopping center. It's zoned commercial, general commercial. It's what it's always been zoned. Historically, it's what it's been zoned to be. Sorry. And so we're just following that. And within that commercial zoning, pharmacies are allowed, and the government has passed this saying that dispensaries are to be treated as pharmacies. But luckily for this place, they built the shell, but nothing else has been done to this location. So we get to fully do a very good build out. It's a dirt floor, so we're going to be starting from literally the ground up. This is one of our floor plans, and here's some actuals. What we like to have a more safe, clean, spa-like experience for our patients. And here's two of our different dispensaries. There's a lobby, and here's a dispensary room, and we keep everything separated. There's going to be state-of-the-art cameras where you follow a very strict safety regulations that they have the state and the county have put in place for us, so we follow them to a T. Also, so the rules, we have to be 500, and anyone can come look at one of these maps I made. We have to be 500 feet from any school, daycare, church, or park, or beach. Here you can see we're 4 miles from a beach. I have the closest park is 1.6. A school, 2,600 feet. We can come see all the locations. I can pass one of these around if y'all want to see them. Feel free. So also the county has set up, it's in their ordinance, a long list of rules and regulations that we have to follow. And within our application process, we have to go through and explain how we're going to follow each one of these rules, which we have begun. From the safety, having officers there, having everything locked up. We have vaults in all of our facilities. Like Victoria said, we keep very low amount of cash and product there. We have locked trucks that go and dispense the product as well as pick up cash, so it's a safe environment. But further, we have found, and I know the doctor knows this, it'll bring so many people to here, people who need this medicine, and we'll make sure, we have to follow these rules, that there's no loitering, they can't do a drive-by, they can't smoke anything, that's against the state laws, but they can't use any of the product on our facility site, and we have to monitor the exterior as well, which we have done so, and we've been doing since 2015, and actively in our dispensary since 2016. If you have any questions about any of the rules or regulations, feel free. I have a packet of how each rule that the county has set forth and how we plan to follow them, if you have any questions about any specific ones.
Yeah, I need to make a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
This area is called Jacaranda West Homeowners Association, and tonight is our annual meeting, and it's the most important meeting of the whole year.
It's a voting meeting.
We are voting, and we really need to get over there and vote. There's several of us here for that. And we wanted to make a comment that it's not about the patients. We understand people need medication, different types of medication for different people. I'm a psychologist. I understand that. It's the location. It's the location. And we're wondering, after hearing what you said as an attorney about you're following all the rules and everything, then why does it have to be rezoned?
I think that was a misstatement. The rules are that it's general commercial zoning, but they passed a law before the state passed the law, stating that the county of Sarasota said is allowed. We just have to apply for a special exception. There will be no rezoning at all under commercial general section. For us to bring a dispensary here, we just have to apply with the special exception.
County commissioner about that?
Well, I'm not a county commissioner.
I'm
I've been elected, but thank you. No, she's correct. The zoning of the property is commercial general. Okay, you cannot just put a medical dispensary in any property that is zoned general commercial. Allows most retail uses. There's a lot of commercial type uses allowed in the commercial general zone district. But you just can't open it up any place. There are, as she just mentioned, locational requirements. They have to be X number of feet from this, that, and whatever, and they're all spelled right out here. She went through a few of those. Now, there's also a requirement that these have to be separated from each other so far. They are limited in the number, and that is where they require a special exception approval. Now, special exception is an application they actually fill out. If they get that approval from the Board of County Commissioners, then they are allowed to do it at that location with very strict guidelines in the zoning ordinance. They are not allowed to do it on any other property, and if they want to change how they're doing it, that's back through the whole public hearing process all over again. So uses that are allowed by special exception, I use the best example that I know about special exception is you can do a church, place of worship, on a residential piece of property. But you can't do it on every piece of property, and you still have to get a special exception, even to put a church on an R zoned district or residentially zoned property. Why? Because there's effects of those, and they need to be mitigated somehow. Same way with this. It's a way of controlling not only where they're located, how they're located, and the criteria for them, but it's also a way of making sure that these just don't pop up at any location wherever they choose. They have to be approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So a special exception requires a public hearing.
Okay, so there are some facilities or businesses that would open up that would not need a special?
Oh, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to put a bookstore in this location, no problem. You wanted to put a pharmacy, Walgreens or a CVS or something, fine. It's an allowed use. Great. But to put a medical marijuana dispensary requires in the zoning ordinance that you first obtain special exception approval through an application process, which is ultimately approved by the Board of County Commissioners. And that's.
Ma'am, if I may, your name, please, because.
So there are concerns, obviously, like with churches, you've got extra traffic and different things like that.
Exactly.
So there are concerns, okay? My name is Constance Justice Billiter, and I live on Blue Wing Court, just maybe 2 blocks from here, and I never got a notice.
Okay.
So, I heard it through word of mouth.
So please add your name to the notification
I'm
list.
going to pass that up. I need to get to the meeting so that we can
Sure.
do what we need to do over there. I have my name and address here,
Okay, yes,
so I can get the information.
If I may, could I just ask, because you mentioned, and I want to make a comment too. I'm not a member of the Trulieve team. I'm just a physician that cares for many of the patients in the room here. And I guess my only comment would be, I wasn't quite sure what you were asking to the extent of the problem being the location. What exactly did you mean by that?
You're right here in a neighborhood. You're right here amongst many residences. I've done my research. There's a lot of
The dispensary is too close to the wall, to the Jacaranda area of 900 residents and a school, etc. We're not talking about right here, sir.
No, I mean the dispensary location.
Yeah.
Distinction is not right.
I was just trying to understand what was the problem with the location necessarily. It's too close to your home.
Well, not just that, but to children and to, people in that particular complex. And even though, maybe the state guidelines say that it's this far from the school, kids have to walk there and so forth. We're concerned about the traffic. We're concerned about, the usage. People are picked up on DUIs more and more with drug-related, i.e. marijuana.
Do you believe the dispensary is different than a liquor store necessarily, or a general
It's just
pharmacy?
adding to it. I'm not saying anything about alcohol. What I'm saying is this is just another factor out there.
So
that's-
I'll address the usage of the product. So we heavily regulate our patients, and that's what the security is for, to make sure that they aren't using it on property, because legally they're not allowed. So they shouldn't be consuming after picking up their medication and driving home. So
They
we.
shouldn't be.
Right, but we have security outside, so we have, we are informing them that you can't do that here. It's a state law for security. We have to have security when we're
But
open.
there are locations further out in industrial complexes and stuff like that. That's more what we're looking at. We're not.
I understand.
We're not looking at,
Sure.
saying the patient shouldn't have this.
Right.
We're not saying that.
I understand.
And
I
I'm
mean,
speaking for several people here, but we really
Sure.
need to go. And thank you for your information so
Thank you for your
far,
questions.
And I
Yeah.
look forward to getting some information.
okay, thank you. We can pass. Did you get her name and number?
Yeah, I
Okay,
got it.
okay, thank you.
She had her hand up in the
Oh,
back.
sorry.
Hi, Noreen Pollock. I have 2 questions, well, actually I have 3.
How do you spell your-
One was about it being 2 hours away.
Mhm.
I believe there's one in Bradenton, that's not 2 hours.
Correct. We just opened that
New.
store. So before that, patients were driving to the Clearwater, St. Pete area. So Bradenton is certainly a location that's closer.
So it's a lot closer.
It's a lot closer, but it is overwhelmed at this point because the patient count in this area is so great.
The other 2 are, the first one being that, I understand your 500-foot rule. You're aware that's a bus stop for children, are you fine?
We're following what the county has set up, and they state it needs to be 500 feet from an actual school building.
No, it's, this is a.
I know, I'm just saying that's what the rules and regulations have set forth that we have to follow.
Yeah, but You know, frankly, that's my issue with this,
Okay.
is the location. It's not a good location. You have a Christian school not too far down. You have an elementary school not too far down. You have children at a bus stop getting into school every day at the corner there. That's not a good thing for children.
I understand. We don't open till 10 a.m. though, so it will not be open while they're sitting at a bus stop. There won't be traffic preventing
Your
the
name's
bus.
up there.
I'm
Your
sorry.
name's up there, Google's real easy. Gee, what is that? You know, I am telling you, and kids are sharp, they're not fools.
Yeah.
Well, ma'am, in fact, they are sharp. And that's why what the key is, quite frankly, is the education of what medicinal cannabis is versus recreational cannabis. That's quite frankly what we're all about. To think that the kids are not gonna find out about cannabis on their own is
Right.
foolish.
One last question I have,
Sure.
and that's, what type of officers are in there? What type of?
So the
officers-
security for our stores have to be employees of Trulieve. So we hire the security guards. We can't outsource those security by law. So our security guards are our staff, and it's staff with security on the hours that we're open.
Do you know what type of class they carry, class J, class C?
It's set forth by the state when the legislature passed the rules and regulations. They set forth what type of requirement the security guards have to pass. Also, their background check had to be done. It was a very extensive background check, and it's nationwide. And it also,
This'll help me, are they armed?
yes, ma'am.
What'd she say?
If they're armed.
Oh, yes, they are armed.
That helps. Thank you.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
you were next.
Sir, we have a question. You just asked me, do I have a problem with the officers being armed?
Why are you?
I don't know. I don't know who's the coordinator here.
I'm not a coordinator.
Is that a, you can ask us.
Just raise your hand, that's fine.
Who has a question?
Are they not there for your protection?
They're there for everybody's protection.
Correct.
Correct.
Which tells me that the possibility that if you have so many security cameras and you have somebody armed, this is a moderately dangerous operation?
No, it's really
Why would you have somebody armed if there's not a problem?
well,
The,
it's what the law states we have to have.
Concealed carry permit.
Hold on. Let's answer the question. It's a good question. So I think the interesting part of this is we want to talk about how safe we are with the security and the cameras. And I think it's a good thing to have all of that, because if there's ever any incidents where we think we're missing a product, we can watch every angle in the store and fix it immediately, notify law enforcement. It's actually a really good thing. I understand where you're coming from. Why do you need it? It's because it's so new in Florida, and Florida has set that law. So to make sure we do it the right way and there aren't any problems right off the bat, because the last thing the state wants is to have issues and it ruined the program. So they put it in place so that it is secure and safe. And in the year and a half, or a little less than a year and a half that we've been operating, we haven't had any incidents in any stores, security incidents, break-ins, anything like that, even from any part of the community. We don't, to be truthful, we know when you're talking about children in the community and things like that, we don't even have them come in. They don't even walk into the dispensaries to inquire about it. It's like the most it's boring. I mean, this isn't something that, interests
We're
that
currently
generation.
delivering to your neighborhood 7 days a week. Like, I don't know if everyone realizes that. We're already delivering. We've been delivering to your neighborhood 7 days a week. Your neighbors could be some of our patients, very likely.
Correct. Yep.
Is this a cash and carry system?
Very different.
You can raise your hand, we'll try and call someone.
That's it. We've been raising for a while.
Thank you. I'd like to speak out that way as,
You wanna use the mic, you might have to turn it around either way. You can turn it.
Oh, no, I have it set up so she can sit. She
Oh,
can sit
but-
and it'll pick her up.
okay. I just wanted the eye contact thing too. I wanted to talk about, some of your concerns, and I'll probably do longer than 2 minutes, I'm warning you. My name is Jerry Donovan, and I am a patient of Compassionate Care. And I'm also an ex-school teacher. I taught elementary school for 20 years until I was diagnosed with a stem brain tumor. It was that big back here. Post-brain surgery, they couldn't remove all my brain tumor because of the location next to the brainstem, which is crucial for life. I still have a part of it, and I'm single-sided deaf because of brain surgery. I have chronic pain, and I can put the makeup on and put on the dress, and you have no idea what I'm feeling at any time of the day. I can no longer hold a full-time, regular job because I never know what each day is going to bring. I also have migraines because the brainstem is where migraines originate, that debilitate me. I also have days where I'm happy and feeling great. Now, and I also have appendix cancer, which is very rare, a parathyroid tumor, and I could go on. I also qualify on the PTSD category because when I was 35 and my son was 4, we witnessed my husband drowning at a high Sierra Lake in Northern California. So I do have PTSD too. So when it comes to what we're talking about, this is legal. This is not bringing something in that is not accepted by, was it 72% of the population when it was voted? And I have been to these clinics, and it reminded me of, and I did drive a very long distance one time because of traffic. Actually, I didn't drive, my husband drove me. And I thought I was walking into a clinician, like a skincare sort of environment. I have been in other environments in other states, not like that. When it comes to the process, again, I'm from another state. I came in here with a stack of medical records, and they took them. When I applied in another state, nobody looked at my records. They just took me at word that I have a brain tumor, blah, blah, blah. So this is a very different environment. There were no children. I've been to, I think, 3 dispensaries. No children anywhere. I actually once sat in the car for a long time on the phone, and a security guard came to check me out, see what I was doing. And I thought, okay, this is good. They're really paying attention to what's going on. And I get the feeling that some people's mindset is not in my backyard. That's correct. And it is my name and Dr. Gordon's name is on the little box when I get it. Oh, and now I want to talk about the pain. One morning, and it doesn't work every time, but now I'm about 50% where I don't need to take the dreaded, I always mispronounce it, opioid for pain. And we've all heard, it's all over the media about the number of deaths. I have to take those pills in order to be normal. And
you may agree or not agree, but let her speak, that's all. But
that was an important point. I thought as I was driving over here, I could take this pill or I could try my vape pen with my ice hat. I have this literally ice hat, and my pain often dissipates. Now, I would trade that any day of the week over a narcotic that's causing so many problems throughout the United States. And at that note, I'll sit down.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with her taking this. I have a question.
Can I get your name? I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. I'm Celeste Beck, and I live in the neighborhood not too far. I did not get a notice of this. I understand there was something in the paper. Word of mouth is what brought many of us here tonight to find out, and I did not vote against it. However, my concern is, why can you not dispense this at the doctor's office, wherever that is? If it's here, then why can't, this is a great place. This is where I come.
It's a great question.
My skin doctor, this is a doctor area. That is a place where you go to a coffee shop, to a grocery store, to a physical fitness. The kids at the military academy wait for a bus to pick them up by my bank, Bank of America. I go there, I'm there, I go to Peaches. A lot of people are there. I don't understand why you need that empty building that's been sitting there forever and you can't use it where the doctor is that is prescribing it.
Sure. No, that's a great question. I mean, the main reason is because the doctors can't have this. The system in Florida is vertical, so we as the organization have to control every process of it, including dispensing it. Unlike maybe other healthcare products that he could sell to his patients. So the doctors by law aren't allowed to dispense this. We have to dispense it and control it through the state registry. So they just simply aren't allowed right now by law. So that's why we have to find locations to open up to be able to dispense the medication.
Why are you not here in this area instead of Have you looked here?
We have,
Right
yeah,
here.
we've looked, I mean, and it's
There's
kind of,
for at least signs
it's not,
around.
well, it's not, it's, I mean, it's how much, what it costs, and then if, a lot of, sometimes if it's just for lease, they won't let us build it out and add our safety features.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to, and we have to follow the rules and regulations that the state, the county, the city all put in place. And so certain landlords, and your landlord has to know about it and be okay with it. And well, not everyone is okay with it, and some people won't let us put all of our safety features and build out in their building. So it's what has come available. I mean, they do extensive market research on how many patients are in the area, how close they check the map, they check everything, and it's,
CHI also.
I'm sorry.
This property is zoned CHI.
Well, yeah, so this is
different.
in
A lot of the interchange where we're at right now is not one of the zones.
yeah, so we have to
it's
follow
located in.
with the county what zones they're allowed in. And the county passed that we're allowed in commercial general with a special exception. So we have to add the state's rules, the city's rules, and the county's rules, and then what the actual state will allow us to do as well, to make sure we're following all rules and regulations. And it was a location that passed all of those credentials.
My name's Deirdre Burnock. I came from a different state and I lived close to a dispensary. And I think people are a little misinformed on what the traffic will be like. You're thinking there's gonna be like, you know, all these people coming and going to this dispensary constantly the whole time they're open, and that's not the case. You're gonna see maybe a few cars here or there or something. It's not going to increase your traffic. Most people aren't even gonna know it's there because they're not even gonna, there's not going to be very much people who are coming and going throughout the day. Especially if it's going to be a dispensary right there, the people aren't going to have to be going at a certain time all at once. They can space out what they need when they need it.
What state were you from where they have this?
Michigan.
Okay. So the thing is, you didn't have the influx of people in the summertime like we do here. The snowbird, excuse me, the winter. Right.
Yeah, but I lived in a highly populated area.
We're in Michigan.
Well, so
I have family there.
Well,
I just wanted to know an area, that's all.
in Brighton.
Okay.
So tourists and visitors and anybody coming into your area for, you know, the winter time, they can't get access to this until they go through the whole process anyway. So for them, if they come and move here or live here for, let's say, 6 months for the winter time, they can go through the process like anyone else. But again, you know, it's 1 to 2 months long of a process and an investment, you know, of their time and money. So it's not a tourism boost at all just because they don't have access to it. And if they're a card holder of another state, they also can't come to Florida and purchase if, you know, they're from Michigan or California or
No, but
anything.
if they're here, they're gonna get it.
If they qualify,
Right.
if they go to a
qualify,
doctor.
They are gonna be there. And
Correct.
they're gonna be buying your stuff.
Correct, if they qualify, but, you know, that's a process for them to go through.
My name is John Michael. I've lived here a long time. Summertime, it's a quiet area. Wintertime, snowbirds come. It keeps our economy going. You're not putting in a bar. I'm a service-connected, 100% disabled combat vet.
Thank you for your
I
service.
smoke. I take a hit in the morning and I take one in the evening because I have PTSD and it takes the edge off. It makes life worth living. I have physical problems. It takes away the pain. I didn't come here to argue who's putting in a bar next to this and that. You know, it don't work that way. Lady talked from Michigan. I grew up in Michigan. I know people in Michigan. It's a lot liberal state there. I know a lot of people that have a card that shouldn't have a card. Florida is not going to be like that. I've researched this. We're fighting it now. They're still, even though the law passed, they're still fighting it. What I want to know is, I'm documented. Talk about brain surgery. I've had it. I was shot in the head. It's not fun. You watched your husband die. PTSD is misunderstood. It's like watching it 100 times over.
More.
And it never goes away. government's good at drugging you up, making you the Walking Dead, the zombie. I've done that. I don't want to be that. I found out about 10 years ago that pot works for me. You know, I tried it in Vietnam, yeah, but you know, and I smoked a ragweed in Michigan, but nothing works like it. It's something you just, I don't care if it's a vaporizer or whatever. One, you're done, you know.
But nobody's complaining about the product.
It's-
It's the location that we have a problem with.
The location, which you're not gonna add, how can you get any more traffic than what you got? Tell them to stop
We're gonna go down to this side real quick.
Please, we're gonna hear different viewpoints. There are people that are supporting it, people that aren't.
Right,
People
we
that
know
have
that.
questions,
What-
limited questions. Let's keep it.
The question before I got off track, I'm sorry, is what I wanna know is how I find a doctor to show all my documentation to get a card. That's what I want. Right there. So I can do it.
Right here, right here.
I didn't even, till tonight, I didn't even know this place was here.
Oh, well, that's great.
I found out I was in, We Fit Gym with my wife, and, one of the ladies, I don't know if they're here or not, come in and handed
It would
me
be
the
an honor
brochure.
to assist you, sir.
Thank you.
Give us a call tomorrow.
Okay, we'll go down this side.
Hi, my name is Sandy Bridges, and I am a patient of Dr. Gordon's. To address you, you made a comment that why can't it be where, the lady there, why can't it be where your doctor is? Why can't people who take opioids get theirs where their doctor is? Same thing. I'm an MS patient. I went off 11 drugs after 2.5 months of smoking medical marijuana. It's a good thing. And if you don't know that.
Smoking it?
No, vaping it.
Vape pen.
Vaping it. Yeah, we can't smoke. We have to.
That's
vape.
what I'm just asking.
I think you're sorry. I think you're misdirected in that, I feel you very much are not in my neighborhood, like this lady suggested. I don't know what you're expecting, but you're so out of line with what your expectations are. You are.
I don't know if I am or not.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Jerome Uvis.
So
Also got PTSD and just got rheumatoid arthritis that you know that I have now. And anyway, I've spent 2 weeks in Colorado, in Denver. They got what they call a 16th Street Mall. If anybody's familiar with it, it's about a half a mile of nothing but stores and office buildings. And there's about 10 dispensaries up and down there. I went with a group, and we had a heck of a time trying to find them. I had them on my GPS, and we'd walk past, and I'd say, it's here somewhere. It's gotta be here. And it'll be a little sign, about that big. Now, I've been to the Bradenton store. It's about that wide, and about that high vertical. Rode by it 3 times before we found, oh, there it is, and found the store. Anybody there? No. All the dispensaries where I was at out in Colorado, you just walk in like you walked into a regular doctor's office. And like the one person said, there might be a few people in there. Never seen one crowded at all. In Braden, usually there's a sitting room. You get to come up, you show your identification, they tell you to sit down if there's nobody in the room with the medicine, and then they'll take you in one or a few at a time, and you buy what you go, and you leave. That's it. And there's nobody, like they say, they'll have their security, nobody's allowed to stand around.
Right.
There is nothing, and there is your products right there.
Yep.
There's no smoke, there's no nothing else, it's just vape and pills. That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Vicki Kelly, and I appreciate people who are here who say they understand some of the illness and that you're not opposed to people taking marijuana, but rather you are opposed to the location. And my husband has Parkinson's, and he takes marijuana. And it is difficult. We had to drive to Tampa to get his medicine. Now there is one in Bradenton that we can start going to. But I do the driving, and I just appreciate it being a lot closer. But the location, it's no different than when you get medicine. This is medicine. It really is medicine. And he takes a liquid form under his tongue. It's not everybody out there smoking that gets high. He takes a liquid form under his tongue. Okay? It's no different than you going to CVS. You have to go there to get your medicine. We have to go to this dispensary to get our medicine. I also go to CVS for other things, but I go to this dispensary to get our medicine. It's no different. There are all kinds of drugs in CVS. Worse, far worse than this, far worse. And when I went there, I went with my husband the first time I was allowed to go in the dispensary with him, back in the medicine, but that was only the first time. Now I'm not even allowed to go back there where the medicine is with him. I have to go through the state again and apply just to go with him into the place to get the medicine. So it is very secure, and it is a very quiet, and as you can see, nice environment. It is not, I don't know what you think. I think maybe you think it's going to be people out there high and flying around. It's not.
I have
senior
family
citizens
in Colorado, and I know what has happened.
Colorado is not.
That was a really
Colorado.
awful example. That's the only reason. I mean,
Colorado
I have no
is
idea what you're talking
recreational.
about, because it was,
That's
I
recreational.
was the safest city I don't
Totally
think I was ever
different.
in, out in Philadelphia.
Totally different.
Big difference between recreational and medical.
Thank you.
Totally different.
Do we have any other?
Hi, my name's Michelle, and I'm a cancer survivor. Brain surgery, let's see, metastatic tumor in my face that ate through all the bone, and then metastasized. I've never smoked a day in my life. Nurse all my life. Very closed-minded when it came to medical cannabis. And I'm sure there's many, many people out there that might be in my mindset. I'm 63. Being a nurse all my life, the last thing I could think of was, oh my gosh, what else? What else am I going to do? We lived in Pennsylvania. I saw and have been to every major hospital. The chemo, the radiation, to make a long story short, was 10 times the normal amount that they would normally give a grown man. So it did such irreparable nerve damage. I went to every pain management doctor that had me on every single solitary narcotic known to man. I broke every toe in both feet. I fell downstairs. I had no idea where I lived. I had no idea who I was. I disappeared on these narcotics. This quick fix, this Band-Aid, that I gave up. I gave up. I totally 1,000,000% gave up on life. Every specialist I saw, I'm sorry, there's nothing at all we can do for you, nothing. Move to a warmer climate. So here I am in Florida. And at 63, my husband, well, our marriage was even in dire straits, because anyone that has chronic pain, unless you've never experienced that, where you can't touch your face, you can't chew food, the pain was so excruciating, I disappeared. And being a nurse, but I have a very strong faith. I have such an enormous faith that I honestly was ready to die. I was. I didn't care. I wanted to go to sleep and not wake up every single day. We didn't have a marriage. And he said, let's try medical cannabis. I said, are you nuts? I'm an old lady. I never even picked up a cigarette. I don't know. And he goes, no, Michelle, it's not any of that. Because I wouldn't know what to do. And we came to see Dr. Barry. He never, ever promised me that he's gonna make everything better. But he did promise me one thing. Let's try this, and with your next appointment, and that's another thing with medical cannabis, you need your guidelines to keep your appointments with your doctors. But he said, the next time you come see me, you're going to be smiling. And you know what? I smiled. And I haven't done that like in years and years and years. Because it hurts. Please know that he's here to help. Don't be afraid. Don't be like me. Don't be closed-minded. There we go. Okay.
Thank you.
Kevin Lynch. And I just have a couple of very short questions. What are your business hours going to be?
Sure. So we're open 7 days a week. Monday through Friday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
This location we can't be open 6.
Oh, really? Oh. Sorry. Hold on. There's different rules.
We are, you can tell, like,
Oh, okay.
other locations are open 7 days a week, but
Got
with
it.
this special exception, the county has set specific times that we have to be open.
Okay, so Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, like I said. Saturday, 7 to 12 are our allowable hours, but I'm sure they could be abbreviated. And then Sunday, we have to be closed.
And then how many employees would be on duty, not counting security?
Sure, usually it's about 12 to 14 employees per dispensary, and then, just depending on busy hours.
And do you have a guess, just an estimate
Yeah.
on minimum and maximum amount of people you'd see in a day?
It really just depends. We could see anywhere from, when we first opened, maybe, 40 patients a day or so.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just want to make a couple comments while there wasn't a hand up. First off, I think what everybody needs to understand about Trulieve specifically is that we, as a city, are fortunate to be having Trulieve want to locate here. Each dispensary organization is only allowed 25 different dispensaries around the state. Trulieve, at this particular point, is leading the way. They have the most market share, the widest variety of products, and fantastic customer service. They will be an asset to our community, I am quite certain. What the people of Venice need to understand is this. This will be a destination for patients to come here. I've been through the plaza. I talked to the medical services company, for example. Who wouldn't want to have elderly and infirm patients coming into their plaza? And Big Olaf's as well, the ice cream store. But my point is, when patients come to the Trulieve in Venice, they're going to go to Venice City Center to shop. They're going to go to Sharky's for lunch or dinner.
How do you know
It's
this?
gonna-
How do you know this?
It's going to be a destination.
Are there
Can I just
any other yeah, you can answer.
Are there other companies that do this besides you?
Yes, so right now there are 13 approved companies.
Okay.
We're all in different processes. There's various levels of approvals. So there's 13 total organizations. 6 of us are approved to actually dispense medication. But as far as how many are open, there's 19 total in the state and 11 are ours. So right now, there's other companies delivering to this area, but as far as I know, I don't know of any of them having plans to also be here.
Okay, so they would be opening stores probably someplace else other than Venice.
Sure. Well, and it all goes back to availability. So, we have to be far enough apart from each other, and every town has their own rules. So,
There is another organization called AltMed that is also going through a similar process
For Venice?
up in Sarasota
Okay.
itself, also in unincorporated Sarasota County. So there are other dispensaries that are.
So there would be
trying to do the
someplace
same
close
thing.
enough for our people to go, like within, what, a 30-minute
It's
drive?
a different dispensing organization.
Well, it
That's-
does, but they're getting the same product, right?
No, they're not. What you need to understand.
every organization's products, although it's all cannabis, everybody has their own processes for growing and extracting and their own product line. So they could have different products than we have, vice versa. We're not sure of what all the companies are planning for their product line, but they aren't all regulated to be the exact same type of products.
And there are people that prefer the Trulieve over the AltMed. or the Knox or the Certera. But just to finish my point is if we don't take this opportunity to embrace Trulieve coming to us, they'll go somewhere else, quite frankly, and then we won't have the opportunity to have the best of the dispensaries in our area.
Well, that might be
And
a
it-
good thing for this town, though, if they go someplace else.
No.
Okay, let's hear the point.
It's all right. Let's give her.
I can only speak for myself. I don't have a problem with the product. I have a problem with the location.
What would you like her to say, if I might ask? Like it is a commercial property, and so there was an appointment earlier about the traffic. So there's still gonna be something eventually going in that building. It's been empty for a long time. So I mean, it could be looked at as a positive thing that there's finally a business going in there. There's gonna finally be something.
You need another bar.
So bad. Oh, that's a horrible.
Okay.
No, seriously, would it rather be a sex Jack and Jill?
Well,
type
maybe
of
I
shop?
doubt very much our board would allow that, right? You would never allow something like that.
There's a smoke shop in the same plaza. Don't
So-
you rather it be a smoke shop?
Well, smoke shop's what, cigarettes?
Oh, no.
The illegal stuff.
I don't even.
It's zoned for commercial.
See, you didn't even know there was a smoke shop
Yes, we're gonna
there.
review it for parking, we're
Right.
gonna review it for.
So there's already,
access, we're gonna
there's
do it.
already a
No, but
marijuana?
that's,
No.
no, a smoke shop is not a dispensary.
What is it?
They sell pipes, they sell CBD. You don't use pipes here.
No, I understand.
They sell to the black market.
Right, thank you.
Yes, yeah, that's the easiest way to say
And
it.
it's already there and you didn't
So
know.
it's cigarettes and pipes?
Bombs.
Bomb stuff, like he just said, they go out, the people go to the black
Paraphernalia.
market, buy the illegal drugs, and that's what they do, they buy this
Yeah,
stuff.
but
to
it
go.
was, and she didn't know, so the location, but she, this gal did not.
Okay, in the back we have a question.
No, but that is very different.
It's worse. It's worse. If you look, go
My
into
name
those
is
stores.
Charles Adams. I live approximately
ignorant.
2 miles from the proposed location. I'm a patient of whereas I was having to look to drive long distances and or get something over delivery or mail order and I couldn't be sure what it was. You will facilitate both me and my wife having the medicine that we need as we age. I'm only 71, I feel pretty young here. But actually, I appreciate you coming here. It is definitely a coming thing in our culture and our society and our economy. And the vote itself supported your existence. So let's let the laggards get on board as fast as they can. And when they get in pain and they don't want opiates, they will be where we are. Thank you.
David Cavucci, I live in the Quail Lake Project, which is very close to that location. I have a problem with the location. I do not have a problem with any of you using this. I don't have a problem if I'm gonna need it. I'd like to know why it can't be distributed in a pharmacy. No, if it's governed by the state law and everything, like you're saying, and under restrictions, it's a prescription, correct?
But,
It's actually not a prescription. That's part of the reason for pharmacies, so go ahead.
So, first of all, it's the state law and it's how it's passed. But the state didn't, like the legislation didn't come up, you know what, let's just have this one little company do all this and we're just gonna make it separate. When they, first the constituents voted on this, they wanted it, they went to their legislators and be like, I want this, I need this, it's my medicine, I want this. And people were from out of state saying the same thing. But our legislator, Florida's gonna be on the forefront of this because they didn't just make up laws. All of them, I got to sit with a couple representatives a couple weeks ago and pick their brains about it. They flew up to California, they flew up to Colorado, and they said, what did you do wrong? Help us so we don't become a state that just allows it for everyone, for recreational. We wanna make this medicine. So they learned, they told them that California and Colorado had a totally different setup than the way we had it. They had it horizontal, we're vertical. They said we allowed it into the certain pharmacies. Well, pharmacies have a percentage they can lose medicine. how they set it up here, medicine's not lost. We can't have a percentage that's just lost. From the dirt, the water, everything that's used to grow and to just process it has to be accounted for. Every single pill in that bottle, every ounce, it is accounted for, and they do it daily, weekly, monthly, and we have to submit that to the state. So they did this so it wouldn't become this black market. California went under because they had a black market. Colorado allowed home grows, they allowed everything. That's where they went wrong. They said if you keep it vertical and don't let so many hands in the pot, it'll be less likely that they'll have this black market, that you'll have things missing, that you'll have it where it becomes recreational. So the state legislature spent, that's why it didn't get passed in regular session, because they wanted to make sure they had every little thing, like every I dotted, T crossed, to make sure that they didn't fall to the problems that the other states have. They wanted to make it, this is a medicine. We're here giving this medicine to the patients. So therefore, they learned from that, and that's why they did it this way. So it wouldn't have, so the voters didn't vote for recreational. They wanted a medicine here. So that's why the law is what it is. They went through all this learning and education process so we could deliver it to the patients in a safe manner that wouldn't open up these black markets in unsafe areas dispensing this product.
Yeah, plus, I mean, pharmacies are obviously more common than dispensaries, so you kind of open yourself up to some of the challenges everyone was talking about here with being close to schools and churches and things like that. They're not regulated to be further away from those institutions.
Well, not only that, but instead of having 60 locations, you have one location that's more controlled.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Another question. You say that there's other companies in the state
Yes.
that are doing the same thing or similar.
Sure.
Now, is it all edibles and ingestible? It's nobody's buying buds.
Correct. So it's a state
I've
law.
been in Venice, California, okay?
Yes.
I know Venice, California
Yeah.
very well.
No,
and I could have
currently-
walked into any store out there and went, oh, I got a pain in my neck. And
Yeah.
the doctor says, here's your script, and I can go out
No,
and pick a red bud, gold,
currently
whatever
the
I want.
law says no whole flower and no smoking. So currently, absolutely not. You won't see that
Now,
in
how
stores.
many other facilities of these other companies are able to move into this area as well?
That's
Or
really up to the.
do you have to stay?
We have to. There are rules on how far apart we can be from each other. So we can't be all in the same strip mall, and it's really up to the company. So one thing you should know is we're all, as organizations, limited to 25 in the entire state. So you won't see a massive influx because we're limited by population size and obviously 25 in the entire state. So the rules have put limits on us for how many we can open. So that's why you see a lot of processes like this, because the towns and the cities are really taking their time to make sure that they do it responsibly.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
With the word, I hear the word location, and in my mind, it's in quotation marks. People are saying, and everyone is, of course, entitled to their opinion, that I'm okay with the process or the product just in the neighborhood, or it's the location. May I ask what that means to you, that the location is the issue? What does that really say, or why?
Because I'm concerned about what it will do to the area and to value of property, value to the children in that area, because there is a bus stop right out, okay? You do have stuff across the street, there's a church. And don't get me wrong,
No.
trust me, I know what this does for you, trust me.
I hear that, I see that.
I have no problem with it.
But with the children and the bus, again, I taught for 20 years, and when I taught second grade, we had to talk about drugs. So there was a drug prevention program, and we discussed it. They knew a lot, and my job was to say, these drugs are illegal, they'll do this, 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 and this. And kids know, but I think if it's presented, as they're saying, as a medicine, and it's not allowed to children, I mean, those gals are gone, but those little smoke shops are much more drug-oriented than what Trulieve is like. I keep hearing, I guess for me, it's like not in my backyard or not at my school, not,
The smoke shop
This
in
is
the-
why I'm asking questions.
Yeah,
This is
and
why I'm
that's what,
asking.
yeah, that's why I wanted that dialogue, because I
And
thought,
that's-
what is that, is it fear of, okay.
No, it's not fair.
Well, like property devaluing, that's a.
Okay.
It's a little bit of everything.
We have a
What I'm saying is,
question.
okay, why couldn't, that's why I asked, why couldn't it be dispensed in a pharmacy?
Yeah, well, that's
Okay,
a law.
Why does it have to be a or another
Because it has to
standing
be from
store
the
somewhere,
feds, the federal.
close to a neighborhood?
I'd like to,
Right.
Kevin Lynch again. What will the security people be wearing?
In a uniform?
Besides the gun.
Oh, okay. They will be fully clothed. They will be in a uniform similar to what we're wearing. So they wear the white polo, slacks, closed-toed shoes. So they will look just like any employee at the store.
But with a gun exposed?
Correct.
Okay. I just think, I like the armed security in that that's gonna head off a lot of problems. I'm a 30-year retired deputy right here in South County, and it's why 7-Eleven does so well. There's always a police car in the parking lot, so they never get one. So, that's a fact. And, but I just think more of a police kind of a look, because they're way more proactive than they are reactive. They're to be seen and scare people.
Well,
So I'm just-
no, that's good feedback. I mean, we don't want patients to be fearful, which is why we have them dress in the employee uniform.
Okay.
That's part of the reason, but I appreciate a suggestion
Okay.
for sure.
I mean, I know I've seen one come in our office before, and they wear the I don't know, the pants that you wear. They wear slacks. They wear the pants. Yeah, these-
They're BDU.
Yeah, those pants. Like you can tell they're authoritative security guard figure. Like it's not like I would be walking around. Like they look very put together, and they have the correct wear, like attire on.
Do we have a question over here?
Yes, my name's Teresa Patrick. I'm not a patient, but my husband is. And it's just to kind of let them understand. I live 2 blocks from a smoke shop. People are hanging out in front of the smoke shop all the time. They don't do that at a dispensary. They do at a smoke shop, but not at a dispensary. You're not supposed to be hanging out in front of a dispensary. It's just, they don't have it. But at a smoke shop, like I said, I live a couple blocks from there, and you always see people hanging out. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, well, like I said, my idea was about Venice, California, because like I said, I know
That's
what
what I'm
it is.
saying, you might be
Yeah,
seeing.
I mean,
what it is, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
absolutely, and it's it's very different just from zoning rules. It just won't be
That's
like
assumed.
that. Yeah.
California, very different.
Just a quick add that,
Sure.
in that same shopping center is one of those smoke shops. And I've been in there, and if you haven't been in there, go look in there. It's all drug paraphernalia. That's all that's in that place. And that's what most people go in there for, is mostly you're seeing somebody that's going in for paraphernalia for drugs in that shopping center.
And there's a liquor store right next door.
At a liquor store.
Do we have any other questions?
Are you gonna be using the whole parcel D, that whole unoccupied area? The 4,000?
The 4,000 square feet.
I don't have the exact.
4,821 square feet?
It's only two. What we're
It's-
using is 2,000.
It's 2,500 square feet. What we're building out.
Okay, so you're not using the whole parcel?
Not for our plans. No, not right now. Any other questions?
Has the whole parcel been rented out or planned by the same developer? Do you know?
So we're going to lease this property.
My
So-
question, what I'm trying to get, my name's Holly Coleman. I have a 12-year-old son.
Okay.
I'm all for it being there, but I'm worried about the businesses that will follow. I don't want a tattoo parlor across the street from my neighborhood.
Right.
I don't want.
Oh, so-
I don't want stuff like that to follow. So I'm wanting
Sure.
to make sure that if he is developing that parcel, that he develops the entire parcel and doesn't sublet it to other people.
Oh, like us developing the building.
Well, I can say one thing, the entire parcel, the red part right there is their freestanding building in the southeast corner of that commercial center is zoned commercial general. And they could put any number of retail uses, and probably will, and they'll probably change over time, in that shop. Yeah, actually, if you had a tattoo parlor that wanted to go in there and lease the space, it would be a permitted use in a CG zone.
Yeah, I mean, we
It
don't.
may or may not follow from this being there.
From that building, we
they
have
could do
zero
it.
plans to lease it out to other businesses. I mean, it's just, I don't even know if by law we could do that, but.
No, we are going to buy, like, so, sorry, we are gonna buy the property, and it's that freestanding property,
Okay, you buy
and we're just gonna use it for, like, if everything goes through, just for our dispensary purposes alone. We're not going to allow, and there is a lot of, rules and regulations set forth what can be around us. So, we would obviously follow all those rules and regulations, but it's only gonna be 2,500 square feet of our dispensary, that's what we're gonna use. And that's it, we're not gonna lease it out or rent out to anyone else.
So you're gonna use that one building right here.
That's in
and
red.
And you don't own the rest of it, somebody else does?
Yeah, we own just, we would, if we go through with the purchase, we just own that one freestanding building at 1260.
Where do you buy shares in Trulieve?
We're not public, we're not publicly traded.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any other questions?
One other one. So it's not legal for any kind of herb in the state, right?
Well, flour can be ground. It has to be ground up, and I have some examples I can show you up here. And it has to be in a tamper-proof packaging so that it can't be opened and removed from the packaging. And also, any product that it has to be vaporized through a device that we would sell in our stores. And any product that we have like that has to go through a 90-day approval period from the Department of Health. So they would have to bless anything that we are putting out like that. So there's a rigorous process to even talk about the idea of, but it has to be ground, sealed. We have a product that is very finely ground in a ceramic cup that's sealed, and child-proof, all that important stuff.
My name is Hogan, B.J. Hogan. Isn't THC the mind-altering portion of cannabis?
Correct.
And like liquor is proofed, is medical marijuana?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, so plants, when they're growing, have a range of percentage of strength, anywhere from like the 19 to 20% strength. And then when it's extracted, our products have varying levels of strength, anywhere from 1 to 2%, all the way up to 80 to 90% in varying levels. And the physician would be the one to qualify and recommend that the patient has those higher levels. So it's really a lot of the physician and patient conversation. So we can't give a patient something that the doctor hasn't given them an order for.
Thank you.
A great answer would be, we call it the duality of the plant. If you have the CBD component here and what's called the other cannabinoids, there's 140 cannabinoids in the plant. 139 of them are the CBD and the other cannabinoids. Here sits the THC. The beauty of medicinal cannabis is that we can manipulate that percentage all the way from a 30 CBD to 1 THC and all the way to the various gradations. And the beauty of it is that each patient is able to find that degree of percentage of CBD, which does not alter the mind, and that THC. And believe me when I tell you, every patient coming to me has a desire not to alter their mind.
Yeah.
Every patient's desire is to feel well, not to feel high. So if we can get the pain out, the tremor out, treat the cancer tumor, but maintain the mentation of the patient, that's the ideal. Sometimes you will have some degree of a mental effect, but typically it's a mild and very predictable positivity of life, quite frankly. But no one in general coming into our clinic is looking for that mental effect, so we attempt to manipulate it to avoid it.
Thank you.
That was a good question. Anyone else with questions?
I was just going to respond to you a little bit. You know, with Trulieve, what I've noticed as they continue to develop their strains and what they're making, the strains are specific to certain ailments. So if you have issues with nausea, then a strain will help you with appetite. There's a new one out that I just tried, Dog Walker OG. Its medical effects are muscle spasm, pain, depression, and a few other things that were all me. And yes, if I took 2 hits, I might get a little high. If I take the CBD oil following it, I can bring it down. And so you can work with it so you're not high. In fact, I've told my neurologist is even considering this, and he's given me drugs that made me high, and I said, I don't want this. So.
Any other questions? We'll stick around for a few minutes if you guys have any one-on-one questions, but I really appreciate you guys showing up and all your questions and thoughts, and thank you. One moment.